Hello everyone, you're welcome to our Montessori training. I am your facilitator. My name is Mrs. Maureen OLA-WILLIAMS. Today we shall be looking at Montessori, the curriculums of the Montessori, the principles of Montessori, and most importantly, the practical aspects of Montessori. First of all, let's begin with the biography of Dr. Maria Montessori. Who is Montessori? It begins with a short story. Montessori is a lady born to the family of Reinald and Alexander Montessori. She was born on the 31st of August, 1870 in the town of Chiara Valley. Being the only child, she was fully supported by her parents. Her mom was in the support of her having an education in a male-dominated field, but her father fully disapproved of it. There was disapproval between her mom and her dad. But in all, she was fully supported by her mom. She was able to study and then graduated and became very interested in science subjects, just like the biology. Now, after she graduated from secondary school, she gained admission to study medicine. Luckily for her, she became the first female doctor in Italy to graduate with a degree in medicine. Her passion for science grew wider and wider. And then she was even appointed as an assistant doctor to work with special children in a hospital. That was where the Montessori method began. While she was working with these special children, or rather the mentally retarded children, she was opportune to work with them in an environment where she noticed that these environments were lacked of experience. Now, these retarded children, or rather the mentally retarded children, were placed in an environment where they were starved of interest, they were starved of motivation. They were placed in the room where there were no materials to play with, there were no toys to play with, and she thought to herself that this brain were not useless, but rather being underused or unused. Now, why will these children be placed in an environment that is starved of stimulation? Another question came to her mind. Why should they be placed in the same room or in the same classroom with insane adults? Looking at it very closely, they have really nothing to learn from insane adults, and they have nothing to learn from a dry environment. And she thought to herself, what do I do to stimulate their senses? What do I do to bring life to the life of these children? She thought to herself, if I could stimulate the environment, if I could prepare the environment, then their mind might be prepared to learn. Then she came up with materials to stimulate their senses. She got to work with them with these various materials, like the sensorial materials, the pink tower, the broad brown stairs, and so many other materials that she was able to work with. She now realized that if kids are placed in a prepared environment, then learning can occur. Now let's look at it. What is a prepared environment? For children to learn effectively, they must be placed in a prepared environment. How do you prepare your environment? It must be stimulating enough, it must be conducive enough, and most importantly, it must be appealing to the eyes of the children. Children are physically attracted by what they see. She felt that to start this education, she first had to work on their environments. So she went with the principle of preparing a clean and conducive environment for learning. What is a conducive environment? Or what do you call a prepared environment? A prepared environment must have the right color. A prepared environment must be stimulating to the eyes, must be appealing to their senses. Colors can be mixed up, but not too crazy to look like a shrine. Mild colors are appealing to children. Now, a prepared environment must have nature all around it. It must have colors, it must have bright materials, not too colorful, and it must be conducive for learning. Now, for learning to take place and to be effective, A prepared environment was the fourth thing she used. Now, because these kids were placed in a classroom that is starved of stimulation, she observed them for a while. And now notice that when they eat, the crumbs that falls from their mouth drops to the floor. And then these disabled children picks those crumbs and put it right in their mouths. And she thought to herself, if these kids could pick crumbs from the floor and place it right into their mouth, that means their senses only need to be stimulated. Of course, why would they pick it and put it in their mouth? Why didn't they put the picked food into their nose or their ears? That means their senses could work rightly if they are stimulated. She also went with what is called the absorbent mind. Now, which means if an environment is fully prepared, learning can take place. That's where the absorbent mind can be fully seen. What do you understand by absorbent mind? Now, kids' mind could be described like a foam. An absorbent mind could simply be described like a foam. When you place a foam in water, what does it do? It sucks up the water. When you place a child in an environment that is ready and prepared for learning, what happens? Learning will take place. So she said that the child's mind is an absorbent mind. If the mind is an absorbent mind, that means whatever is in the environment, the kids will absorb. Now, if these children could pick crumbs from the floor and place it in their mouth, that means there is a sense in them that ought to be stimulated. How? Using their hands. She now came up with so many materials, which today is what we use in the Montessori system of education. Maria Montessori worked with these children and was able to place them along with normal children. She placed examinations for them. They did absolutely wonderful. And they passed. They excelled in the examination. She said to herself, and I quote, I was able to prepare mentally retarded children, which she referred to as idiots, and placed them in the same classroom with normal children, prepared examinations for them, and they excelled. Now, if this method of education could work for mentally retarded children, how much more a normal child? Dr. Maria Montessori brought hope to special children. She brought hope to those children that we feel that has been neglected. Now, if this system of education was perfect for their learning, that means it could be okay for even a normal child. She went on with this system of education and began to train so many teachers. She prepared a lot of teachers, groomed them, and in fact, she was well known all over the world for the wonderful system of education she brought. Now, she broke this system into various parts, which today we know as the curriculum. What is the curriculum? Maria Montessori broke her system of education into 5 curriculums, which are the mathematics curriculum, the language curriculum, the sensorial curriculum, and the practical life exercise. The last curriculum is what we call the cultural subject. So we shall be taking each of the curriculum one after the other, break it down, and see the senses that will be stimulated by them. Thank you.